You've stepped into a protected space for Black women founders to think, build, and breathe. A dedicated space for those of us carrying brilliance and the challenges that come with it. Here, we honor your time, your growth, and your unique journey. So if you're navigating to year 5 and beyond, hey sis, you're in the right place. These conversations offer insight, relief, and honest perspective. I'm Linette Cottrell, and this is the EmpowerHER Business Podcast, where we talk mindset, money, and thriving. Let's get right into another great episode. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Women of Color in Business Podcast. Again today, we are graced with the presence of another beautiful Black woman making it happen in business. And we're going to begin by allowing her to introduce herself and her business to us.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I am Melva LaJoy Legrand. I am the proud owner of LaJoy Creative. We are a turnkey, comprehensive events management agency based in Washington, D.C. and New York, and servicing clients globally.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, Melva, how long have you been in business?
I have to pinch myself sometimes, but 2025 represents 18 years.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
You made it far beyond that 5-year mark that most businesses struggle to get to. So congratulations.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Great. So when you started your business, tell us a little bit about your journey. Did you start as a side hustle? Did you start in the particular business that you're doing now? Did you have to pivot along your journey? How was your business journey? What did it look like in the beginning?
So I think I should say, I don't know if you even have enough time for all of the stories. So let's do some broad strokes. So here's what I want to say, what is real for me. My first career, and I'm very proud of this, was I was an educator, and I loved education. I believe in that as a career, but I knew in my soul that it wasn't my authentic space. Okay. And so in 2007, I was working for a fabulous nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C., and we could see the writing on the wall. The 2008, for those of you who may not know, in 2008, there was a recession, and I imagined a world where could I use this gift to be of service to organizations that were doing great work. And what I want to tell people is, and this is not popular, but I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have funding, but what I had was this burning instinct that I was meant to use this gift, that I was meant to own something, and I had to go for it. And so I did. I called organizations. So this is pre-Instagram, pre-TikTok, and said, hey, I'm Melva LaJoy, and I can do this. Can I come and talk with you? So I did it the old-fashioned way, cold calls. And eventually someone took me up on that offer. It was an association in DC that's no longer in existence. But what that person did for me is they gave me a shot. And in addition to giving me a shot, they opened up doors for other connections. Because what I think is still true, even in the age of social media, is that relationships are everything in an entrepreneur or business owner's life. So to answer some of your other question, over the years, as life has happened, it is not a secret that I am a survivor of an abusive relationship. It is not a secret that I had the honor of being the caretaker to my late father, Melvin. I got married, all of the things. So my business has had ebbs and flows. Yeah. And so I want to fast forward from 2008. We're going to go fast forward to 2019. This was post, this was pre-meeting my husband, but this was in the middle of my caretaking journey. And I decided then that it was time to rebrand. And so we rebranded as LaJoy Plans.
Okay.
And I went for it in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then, talk about a pivot. Hi, 2020.
Yes.
In 2020, I lost 98% of my income.
Mm.
I was closed for 18 months.
Mm.
And what I want to tell people is, I think it was my gran who always used to say, like, show up in anticipation. So during COVID, what I would do, and my now husband would look at me like, what are you doing? I would get dressed for work every day.
Mm.
There was no work, but every day I made it a practice to shower, get dressed for work, to go online, and there was no work until there was.
Oh.
And so what I will say about 22, 23, and 24 is each year the business doubled in size.
Mm.
And last year we grew by 53%. Factual. That's facts.
Mm.
And so part of that growth is a credit to longstanding relationships. Thank you, clients, my team. Thank you, team. But I also knew that creatively, pun intended, we were expanding in what we could do, which is why we, in 2025, actually last month, became LaJoy Creative, because we've grown.
Okay, wonderful. I love that. Thanks for sharing that story. So it's great to see, and I love that you shared how your business had its ups and downs, because that's the nature of business, right? And how you lasted through the COVID years. And it's very interesting that you got dressed for business every day, right? When there was no business. So you kept your mindset on there's going to be business.
There is, and here's what I want to say about being down. And because sometimes I think people, like, in the past 5 years, it is factual. We've won 10 awards. We've produced a documentary, just got its second award. Like, all of these things are real and great and wonderful. But what I think people don't talk about enough is part of business is the down moments.
Yes.
And I am thankful for the down moments. I am thankful for everyone that said no, because it made me think about, okay, what is my value proposition? I am thankful for every door closed because I wasn't actually ready. I wasn't actually ready. I am thankful for team members who were a good fit, but I'm also thankful for team members who weren't a good fit, because it made me a better manager. And I think sometimes we think down is the end.
Yes.
I think down is where it begins, because in my lowest moments, and I'll give a factual example because sometimes we talk so high, in 2024, first quarter, I lost a major contract and I was depressed. I'm going to say it, depressed. It was sad. And I had a decision. Do I stay there or do I figure it out? And so unbeknown to my team, I took a pay cut so that I could pay them. And then you heard the results. I did figure it out.
Right.
So what I want to tell people listening to this, and I'm so passionate about it, here's the realest I can tell you. Every day we know, we watch it, the sun rises. Every day. Eventually, after every storm, it settles. So why wouldn't you think that in business, that's not a possibility, when nature is showing us that it's all temporary? If you're broke right now, hi, I've been broke, it's temporary. If you don't have any contracts, hi, me too, it's temporary. If you have a client that didn't work out and is talking about you, it's temporary. It's all temporary, but you have to be the constant. Dress for work. Be in anticipation. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I love that you share that. And to your point, that is exactly what we need to hear as entrepreneurs, that every day it's not sunshine. The sun comes up and it goes back down. But just because you're in a spot where things are not going the way you would rather have them go, doesn't mean it's time to quit and give up. It doesn't mean that down the road, things are not going to turn around. And that reminds me of the fact that when I discovered that Black women-owned businesses were the fastest growing sector of new small businesses, I also discovered that only about 3% of our businesses make it to 5 years and beyond. And I think a part of that, there are a couple of things that are reasons behind that. But I think when we talk about the entrepreneur, part of it is that new entrepreneur thought their first failure meant it's time to quit, right? When they couldn't see the answer right in front of them, they felt like, okay, maybe I'm not built for this, as opposed to it's going to come around. Just let me keep going, right? Which is one of the primary reasons I started this podcast, because I want us to know, to be able to hear the candid stories like you're sharing and understand that it doesn't go uphill all the time. Wherever you're looking at on social media and you see that particular entrepreneur and they're in a shiny moment, every moment wasn't a shiny moment. So because you're not having one of those shiny moments, it doesn't mean it's time for you to quit. Right?
Yes. And also, like, sometimes your shiny moment, look, so on social media, and I'm grateful, thank you to people who follow me. I don't have 100,000 followers, but guess what? My P&L, the maths.
Yes.
Sometimes your shine is in private. Yes. Sometimes your shine is internal. And I think I think social media has equal parts of challenge and opportunity. But the challenge of social media is this. If you are so focused on the likes, on the guess what you're not focused on? Business development.
Right.
Business development. And here's the thing about, failing. I think everyone should experience failure. I think everyone should and will, by the way, I don't know why they're lying, experience loss. I think everyone should and will be humbled. And that is just a natural part of the cycle of life. I think the trick of social media is that it's a highlight reel.
Yes.
That's not a life reel. I'm telling you is, in business ownership, again, I was in an abusive relationship. I got married, but I also lost my dad. I've lost team members, all of the things. I've lost money, all of the things. That's the life reel. And I think my advice, I have so much I want to give to business owners, but what I want to say is, block out the noise and be in the business of building. And sometimes you build in silence. But my question to the people, like, does your math? Like, if you're building a business and it's only about external affirmation, but there's nothing you're getting in your soul, then you need to be building something else, because this work is hard. My work is hard, but what I can tell you is it is rewarding. And the other thing I want to say about people who are experiencing failure or loss, are like, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the context. I think that's a lot in our culture. Like, there's not the same level of generational wealth. Right. Here's my question to them. Do you have a calling on your life? Do you have this dream in your head that everybody has told you is crazy, but you feel it? You wake up and you're like, I wish I could. Well, guess what? You should. Because when you decide that you're not going to go the traditional path, whatever that is, right? When you decide to meet your dream, guess what happens? Life happens. It happens. But the minute you allow the noise and the projections of people who can't do what you do dictate what you can do, right, your dream will never be realized. That's just facts. A
Yes.
lot of people out here are getting business advice from people who wish they were in business and are blocking you from the blessing because they weren't prepared to take the risk that you actually can take.
Got you. Wow.
That's what I think.
Great information. Great information. So when you started your business journey, you told us you transitioned from working for a nonprofit. You made those cold phone calls and you got your foot in the door with a new one. What led you from there to what you do now?
I think a couple of things. First, I think for me, and I could go on and on, but I'm just going to say this as a sentence. For me, God.
Mm.
And then let's talk about the business piece. I would say part of what has contributed to the growth of the LaJoyosphere is people seeing who I could become before I could see it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm referring to mentors who opened up doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm referring to a client who said to me, hey, we had the post-event debrief. Everything was fantastic, but here were the top 3 learnings. And number 3, we should have paid you more.
Wow.
You need to charge more. I'm talking about people who, real talk, tried to buy my business and are now, some of them, my competitors. And so over the years, even when I doubted things, even when I made mistakes, there was confirmation.
Got it.
Along the way,
right.
Of mentors, of allies, of ambassadors. So the best thing you can do, I think, one of the best things you can do is build a business that your name is spoken in rooms that you're not even in. I think one. So that would be the first thing, or the second thing. The third thing I would say is I am a relentless student. So sometimes in business, because we're humbled, we take it as I don't need to learn that. No, I want to learn everything.
Right.
I want to learn everything. And I think that when you are in relentless pursuit of your passion, it allows you to be in rooms and you show up differently. You show up as the subject matter expert. You show up as a thought leader. You show up as someone, actually, I know who they are. I believe in them. So I think building your internal, library is critical. I think I have 5, so I have 2 more. The fourth thing I would say is a team. So at some point, and let me be clear, pay your bills. Okay, this is not the advice to just, hire people. But at some point, and you will only you will know the point, it is time for you to scale. It is time for you to do more. And at that point, you need to invest in people who are not like you, who are better than you in areas, who you can train, who you can trust. You need to build with a team. And then the last thing I will say is I think you always have to be, how do I want to say this? Nimble to what's actually happening, right? So back in the day, social media wasn't a thing. Back in the day, sustainability wasn't a thing. Back in the day, security measures around active shooting wasn't a thing. All of these things weren't things. Now, you can pretend that life isn't evolving, gatherings aren't changing, the world isn't changing. You can pretend, and when that happens, you get left behind. You have to be nimble to what is changing in your market, because your values never change, but your proposition, if you are smart, expands. And because of those 5 things, for me, God being my anchor and following the steps, the expansion may not have been easy, but it was inevitable. I am inevitable. And there are a lot of people listening. You are inevitable because our destiny, we can take detours. I've taken detours. But it actually can't be denied.
I love that. Destiny cannot be denied.
Never.
You dropped some really valuable gems there.
Thank you.
One of them that I really want to expand on a bit is you talked about being at the point when you need to scale and you need to add a team and you need to add people that know more than you do in certain areas. And that takes me back to the concept of when solopreneurs first start out and they have to figure out how to wear all the hats, how to do everything because everything is on them, just the person. So they have to figure out how to fund their business, how to market their business, how to acquire their customers, how to service their customers, how to balance their budget, how to create the budget, then balance the budget, how to project, for what's coming up the next couple of months and the year and the 5-year plan. So let's go back to just getting started and funding your business. How did you fund your business when you first started? Was it personal funds? Was it bank loans? Was it grants? Was it family assistance? How did you fund your business?
So this answer is not going to be popular, but with the cash in my pocket. With the cash in my pocket, my dad, my late father, had this rule. He said, if you don't have it in cash, you don't have it. Well, I didn't actually have it in cash. So I had to multiply it. And there were some very hard days financially. There were moments where I borrowed clothes from people to go to events to show up a certain way. And I want to acknowledge, because I think my life choices may have been different if I was a mother. I didn't have a young person counting on me.
Got it.
So they may have been different. But and I realized if I was hearing this from somebody, I would probably roll my eyes. So if you're rolling your eyes, I get it. I just had to try. And I was willing to go for broke. And because I am I am highly educated, I have all of the degrees, I always knew a traditional path, at least at that point in the world, was available to me. And even now, people always need teachers. People always need certain professions. But I couldn't imagine not trying.
Got it.
I could imagine not going to happy hour. I could imagine not eating at the best restaurants, but not trying was just a non-starter for me. So it was the cash in my pocket, and then I multiplied it. And until it multiplied, I resourced. I borrowed so-and-so because I know she has a bag addiction. So I borrowed her bags. I was thoughtful about what I ate. You can't eat at home. Earlier today, I still ate at home. We don't have to be in all of the places. I didn't have an office space, but guess what we have in DC and in almost every major city? You have nice hotels. So you want to meet a client and you don't want to bring them to your home? That's weird. I wouldn't suggest that.
Right.
But back in the day, you had nice hotels. But now you've got WeWorks. Now you have so many options. So I just can't believe that people can't try. But I think people don't try because you're afraid of looking stupid, of failing. Well, guess what? I remember, this is a very real story. When I rebranded in 2019, I would go to these events. I would borrow people's clothes because I was starting over, completely over. And people would walk by me. People would walk by me. Now, I never forgot their faces. But you fast forward to 2025, we won a couple awards, have a couple of celebrity events. Now those same people, Melva, hey girl, da-da-da-da-da. See, I didn't change. They just decided to see me.
Mm.
So I've been overlooked. I don't get invited to every event, but it never stopped me from trying to not be able to do my hair, or all of these things that cost money.
Right.
But I know who I am and I know whose I am.
Right.
So Melva LaJoy Legrand is going to try.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff there. So you started with the cash in your pocket. You started your solopreneur adventure. So at what point did you say, okay, it's time to scale? And were you scaling with the resources? Like when you decided I need to hire more people who know more than me, did you have the money to hire those people and pay those people? Or were you planning on with hiring these people, I would get this contract, make this money, and be able to cover my expenses? What was your planning process when you decided to hire people?
Well, it's not going to follow any conventional advice. I did the latter. I was like, I am very, and I think people are feeling this. There are some people who are conservative. I will take all the risk. So I would hire people and I would know to myself, I don't know how I'm paying. I don't know. Jesus make a way. And he did. And I did. I put in the work. So, but again, I want to recognize that is not a choice everyone should feel like they have to make or can make.
Right.
For Melva LaJoy Legrand, I was just built to weather storms in a different way. And I think that's a byproduct of my overall life experiences. And it has paid off. Where I can compensate individuals, I would say above the averages. And I feel good about that. And I feel proud about that. And I would say in order to be able to continue to do that, I am thoughtful about the climate that we're in globally. This isn't a political statement, but there's a lot of movement, right?
Yes.
And so as you bring people on, you have to be thinking, I would say a growth area or something that I've noticed about myself in the recent years is I'm more forward thinking. In the beginning, to your point, I was go, 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 get this money, go, 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 go. Now, with people on my team, and because I care, and I think most small businesses care, we don't have a corporate mentality.
Right.
I'm more forward thinking. Like, what does this mean in a year from now? How would this impact all of us? And at the end of the day, to steady the ship, as I gave the example of last year, we'll take the pay cut. And people say, well, why would you take the pay cut? You own the thing. It's in your name. People are buying into you. Because at the end of the day, it's my dream. It's my responsibility. And I know it's coming back. And when it doesn't come back, that's the obvious question for the person rolling their eyes.
Right.
Then I know that my job is done and it's time for a next chapter. Because I think sometimes we make our business, and it's out there. I call LaJoy the baby that I gave birth to. I feel that. But like any baby, there will come a time, I don't believe it's today, I don't believe it's 5 or 10 years from now, but there will come a time where the baby goes off to college and we're meant to do something else. But right now, these decisions, my instincts have served me well. For the most part.
I like that, because to your point, you're not stating, this is what entrepreneurs should do. You're stating your journey. This is what I did. This is what my journey looked like. And you're sharing the truth of your journey versus what may be the prescribed steps that are usually given to entrepreneurs. And a lot of times those steps may not work for everybody. There would be a need to get creative, because we're talking about theory versus reality, which are two totally different things. Everything that sounds good in theory doesn't really work in the real world.
Doesn't. And also, I think people, I like giving advice in general, but probably my biggest piece of advice for any business owner is the only thing I would tell any budding or struggling or emerging, whatever the case may be, wherever you are. My advice is this simple. Do. That's the advice. I can't tell you what the steps are. I can tell you what has worked for me. I can, but ultimately, every single person interested in a business has one action. Actually, just one action you have to do. Like, you could write about it, okay? You could talk about it, okay? But you do actually have to do.
Got it.
Because otherwise, it's a dream, it's a hobby, it's a concept, but it's not a business. Now, how you get there, what you're willing to risk, what you're willing to give, that's up to you. Because I think the problem with some of the people who give counsel is you're right, it's very formulaic. There is no formula to life other than the one that you are actually living.
Yes.
It's why actually part of the rebrand for LaJoy Creative is that I am now taking on coaching clients, because I actually don't believe in formulas, but I do believe that we have blockages that prevent us from that one action. Do.
Yes. And what type of blockages are you speaking to?
So I think there's a couple. And again, I was like, you got 2-3 more hours. But I'll speak on the big ones. I would say number one, not in this order, but just to number it, would be intergenerational curses. And I would say intergenerational curses and trauma. We learn and we do from what we've got.
Right.
And we transfer that. We transfer that. We experience that. And so if culturally business entrepreneurship is just like silly talk, that's a blockage. Because when you start to ideate, it becomes that secret you don't want to tell anybody because mama or grandma or whoever said that's just silly talk. When really it could be the next slutty vegan. It could be the next, what is that, sister? Uncle Ernest. Like, it could be the next thing.
Right.
But generational blocks and trauma that you don't belong in this space. You're not deserving of accumulating wealth. You don't deserve to be a leader. I think that's one.
Okay.
I think the second one is the perception of perfection.
Love that.
I love alliteration, so I had to think about that. But the perception of perfection. So I think a lot of us are waiting for the perfect moment.
Yes.
And the perfect plan.
Yes.
And the perfect opportunity. And the perfect blah, 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 blah. And what we will find is we'll be waiting, and then one day we'll be dead.
Yeah.
Because it'll never happen. Versus, again, going to that action. Just do. Just do. And then I think the third one, and I could go on and on, but I'm going to say this for women specifically. I think there's a lot of books that I can't cite right now and all of the things, but I think we have been socialized to be in support of versus in the forefront.
Yes.
And here's the thing, there is beauty and power and influence being in support of that allows us to be dynamic in front of. But unfortunately, I think you could credit media, you could credit social media. There are a lot of examples that can get into our psyche that will tell us as women or female identifying individuals that we're too empathetic. We won't be taken seriously. We're not strategic, whatever these words are. And then when we're in the room, we're aggressive. We're not this, we're not that. And I think that for women, the block is, well, what if all of that was true? The world would just have to deal with it. And I am grateful. Shout out to my mother, Joyce, who it may have taken me decades to fully embrace this, but my mother was very clear that the world was just going to have to deal with my power. Now, how I choose to wield it, I pray most wield it for good, but I think the narrative for women of who we can be as leaders prevents so many from even trying and showing up.
I love that.
Those are just three.
Yeah, very good points. And all three of those, I think, even when we do show up and we find ourselves stuck in business trying to get to the next level and can't figure out why we can't, those are some of the prime reasons why. Those are things that we need to stop and deal with before we can get to the next level. So great information, great information.
Pause with me for a second. I just want to thank you for being here. And if this hits home, tap 5 stars, leave a quick comment, and send this to a sister who needs it. You help more women find this space when you share. All right, back to the conversation.
So talking about your business and your rebranding, what would you say is the primary problem that you solve for your clientele?
Excellent question. I've been waiting to answer it. So here's the problem. I think our clients were hiring a cadre of consultants to do everything I knew we could do internally. And by that, I mean, when we were LaJoy Plans, we were known and still are known as conference management experts, event planners. And that is still true to our core. But over time, we became script writers. Over time, we became storytellers, ghostwriters, graphic designers. And we would just, provide it for this one, provide it for that one. And I wasn't telling the world. And at some point, it was, Melva, why are you playing small when you see your clients? So they hire you as the planner, they hire them as the script writer, they hire them as the project manager, and you can be an all-in solution. Why aren't you telling them that? And I think going back to my previous point, I had a little narrative that bigger meant less quality, meant less intimacy in the client relationship. And I was completely wrong. Those were just lies I made up to delay what was going to happen anyway. I was like, well, of course I can't do that, because if we do that, we won't be as connected. Not true.
Got it.
Or, of course, we can't do that because, that'll be so much more work. It is, but we're resourced for it. Like, I just made it up.
Got it. So you created your own boundaries for yourself, and you had to shift your mindset to remove those, to say, okay, that's not true, and that's not true, and that's not true. So let's go ahead and do this rebranding.
Yes. And again, I talked about confirmation. So I had people continue to ask for these things. And at some point, remember I was saying, like, keeping your ear to the ground, or however I phrased it.
Yes.
If people are asking for the thing and you are showing that you've done it, then why are you saying no? And I think for me, I said no because, frankly, I already work a lot. But you can't. So I'll tell you a story of yesterday. So yesterday, I was talking with a girlfriend, and she said, "How are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm a little tired because we have a lot going on." And I said, "Well, how are you?" And she said, "Unemployed." And it like shocked me because I didn't know that's what she was going to say. But here's my point. You can't complain about all of the yeses that you've been waiting for when people are navigating life in the no space. This is my season of yes. This is my season of unstoppable. This is my season of growth. But guess what? It's temporary. This season won't always be here. I know that. It's why you should save money. It's why you should try to be kind. It's why you should try to learn as much as you can, because the tide will shift. Nobody is at their top, and I'm not even saying this is my top, but nobody's in their winning season 24/7, 365.
Right.
But if you're in the season like, oh God, I wish, and then he grants the wish, and you say no, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's the wish. You could wish.
Yes.
Your
now
wish
it's
is
time
here.
to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an issue, Melva, in determining your pricing or pricing your services for what they're really worth?
Time. Not anymore. But in the beginning, yes. I had, so I'll give you that example. I can't remember the year, so forgive me for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for a convention project. I want to say multiple days. I was so excited to get the work. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then afterward, I came up in the debrief. I found out that the people who were like in the finalists, and this was 10, I don't remember how many years ago, were charging $50,000 more. And I was like, so what it did for me is, number one, sometimes you, my fellow business owner, sometimes you can't even see how good you really are. Because you're in that, especially in your solopreneurship, you're so desperate for being real, for the work, that if someone gives you $500, that's an extreme example, you're like, oh my God, thank you so much. That you're not realizing that if people really want you, they might give you the $15,000.
Right.
And I'm so grateful that client, off the record, obviously told me this huge disparity, because I didn't even know I was in the room with companies that were quadruple my size.
Yes.
So that was early on. So now what do I do? So we got to fast forward to now. I have a fabulous bookkeeper, shout out to her, who at the end or beginning of the year, depending on how you look at it, we look at cash flow, because that matters. I need to tell people pay late or they don't pay at all. So that matters. We look at rates. We look at all of the things. And she does a mathematical equation that tells me what I should be charging minimally to meet my revenue goals and to keep things afloat.
Got it.
So now I am doing it mostly on math. But I have a business that includes heart. So there are absolutely moments where you could call it community engagement. You can call it, because I want to, because I'm the owner, where I make decisions that don't follow the strict formula. Because life doesn't follow the strict formula. But yes. And here's the nugget, because none of that really helped anybody. That was just great for me to tell that story. So let me give the nugget that'll help people. When you don't get a contract or an opportunity, the best questions you can ask is obviously why.
Yes.
But who did they hire? And it's not to be, please don't be a stalker. That's not the advice. But it's important to know, not because the competition should matter or you should be obsessive about it, but it does tell you who you're in the room with. And even if a company doesn't have their pricing posted or their client list posted, like if you go to the LaJoy Creative website, I think it says who we are. I think you can see some of our trust symbols, the clients we work with. It paints a picture of what we do.
Yes.
And then you can ask yourself, if I'm in this room, am I charging myself appropriately?
Mm.
I mean, because here's the thing. I will tell anyone like how we charge. Like we are a flat fee. We work as an agency plus travel expenses. But I think everybody has to do their own research. And the other thing I would suggest that not a lot of people can do, if you're going to own a business, in my opinion, you got to be comfortable talking about money. Otherwise, you just have a full-time hobby. Like, dancing around the money. I remember there was a group this is later on, not in the beginning. In the beginning, sometimes you just gotta eat. But, excuse me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
These allergies are tearing me up. But you got to be comfortable talking about money. Excuse me.
So what do you mean by that? Elaborate a little. Where are entrepreneurs not being comfortable talking about money?
You don't want to talk about your rates. You don't want to stand firm on your rates.
Got it.
When people ask you what's the range or what's the payment schedule, like you're not confident.
Got it. You're saying stuff like, well, what are you willing to pay? As opposed to, yeah, got it.
And here's the other thing I will say. Someone said to me, well, that's a lot of money. This is a small event. Or this is a small project. And they were right. It was a small project. But you know what's not small? My intellectual knowledge.
Yes.
That's not small. You are paying for 25 years of a brain trust. You almost can't put a price tag on it. Now I do, but and from my perspective, I have worked on projects that involve, let's say, 15 people to 3, 4, or 5,000 people. There is no small event. I think we need to there is no small project. But I think we need to shift that narrative, because if it's small to you, how would you expect me to value it? I don't have small projects. I have meaningful projects that have impact for the amazing clients we service.
There you go. Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's one person or 100,000 people, you're going to get the same level of service. There is no small. And I would say that to people who are on the client end, don't talk about your work as small.
Right.
Because you're not insignificant.
Right. Wonderful. I love that. Love that. So in your business, have you had any business mentors?
I had a career coach.
Okay.
That I thought was phenomenal and helped me consider how I was going to go to scale and how I was going to build and train my team. And I did that for maybe 2 years. And I would say the nugget for a business owner is, respectfully, we're not that smart. We are smart. And one of the smartest things you can do is get support.
Yes.
But in this phase, what I think is more compelling is I have a informal community of other CEOs of different size companies. Like there is a baseline, and across the globe. And we get together for 2-hour mastermind talks. And it's assumed it's a safe space. And I think the nugget for me is there is tremendous learning outside of your industry.
Yes.
Like you should go to the industry conferences. I enjoy going to my industry conferences. I speak at my industry conferences, but I have someone I'm thinking of abroad who's a magazine publisher. I have someone else which is a little adjacent, but I have someone else who used to run a dental practice. Like, I think we've got to be in community with businesses I think the floor should be where your business is, and then aspirational businesses.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
And it should work both ways. You should be willing to be in community. Like, for me, I am willing to be in community with other people, and it's a fact. People know it. I refer projects out all the time. Sometimes my company is not a good fit, but if I know of a company that is smaller or even bigger, I'm going to refer it. It's a boomerang. I don't know why business owners think they have to hold on to what they know and who their clients are.
Right.
It's not a blood oath. It's not a covenant.
Right.
Let it be a boomerang. Let everybody have an opportunity, and watch your opportunities multiply.
Right. Exactly. Because it goes both ways. That energy that you give, you will receive.
Daddy always said, you get what you give.
Yes. So, Melva, what would you say in your business journey? What would you say is something that you consider to be the worst advice you ever received, and something you consider to be the best advice you ever received?
Well, the worst is easy because I talk about it all the time, and it's worth repeating. Someone told me to tone my blackness down. And so, as a result, I toned it all the way up. Okay. This was when I was restarting in 19 pre-COVID, and they were like, you're obviously very educated. I wear my hair all different types of way. I was wearing an afro that day. And they're like, you may want to just, tone that down, like the blackness. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, because you've confirmed I'm going to tone it up.
So tone down who you are. The nerve of someone to say that.
Now, here's the sad part. Black man. So that is still the most memorable, worst advice I've ever gotten. Probably the best advice, I know this is the one that comes up, is there's a photographer in Maryland. If she ever hears this, she knows I'm talking about her, a Black woman. Very well regarded, does beautiful work. And I've always been a fan of her work. And so one day I just asked her, kind of like your business story and her schedule. And she says, I plan my schedule with rest in mind. And I looked at her and I said, say what? Rest?
Right.
You run a business like I do. Like, what do you mean? And what she said, and I believe her, is look, we all know how much money we need to survive, right? We all know how much money we need to thrive. We all know what that number is for us. And she said, so what she would do is look at her schedule, and based on her business ebbs and flows, that identified her busy season, and she would stick to that. And the rest of the year was her restoration. So for me, the reason why it was the best advice, it is no secret that I am an active, recovering workaholic. And if I wasn't married into a French family where they love holiday, they're serious about their holidays. And so I don't have it fully figured out. But what I know to be true is we no longer work in December. Not fully. We close for 3 weeks. And here's the thing. In the U.S., I'm embarrassed to say this, initially clients revolted. They were like, what do you mean you're not working? And what was interesting about that was the how dare you?
Right.
How dare you? But every single time that we've had that closure, like that closure to use 2024, I did healing. I did thinking. It prepared me because when we came back in January, I was prepared for all of the work it took to do the rebrand, which was a new website, a new logo, team photo shoot. Like, I was prepared in a different way. And so I don't think this advice is realistic for everyone. I'm just talking about the best advice. I think there is a season where you do overwork. I hate to break it to people. I don't know a business owner, even that woman who told me that, who didn't have that season. But then I think the reward is that you can begin to plan with your rest in mind.
I like that. I like the concept of looking at your schedule and knowing what your busiest season is, then knowing what your slowest season is, then being able to schedule your rest or your vacation or your holiday time around that, and giving yourself permission to take that time off. And like you said, to plan. Most of the times, if we're working throughout the end of the year, when January 1 comes, we never stop to catch a breath, right? Your creativity expands when it has space to expand, right? And that's usually when you've given your mind a break to rest. So if you're just constantly working, you think the creativity that you're coming up with is your best, but it's not. It's not as good as a rested mind will come up with.
It's a lesson that I'm still actively trying to implement, and I'm grateful to have the advantage of a European culture because, and I don't mean to romanticize France. It is not Emily in Paris. It has its own set of challenges. But what is real is at 5 o'clock, people are out for their aperitif or not, cocktail mocktail situation, but they're laughing. They're not checking their phone. They are actually talking to each other. And I'm not saying that it makes them more jovial. All I can say is what is real for me. When I have those moments, I know I'm more grounded for the natural ebbs and flows of business, the natural ways that work is going to work me.
Right.
So that's what I would say right now is coming up for me. If somebody asked me a month from now, I might have something else, but I'm thinking about the rest.
Got it. Good stuff. So what do you do when you're in that busy season, or when you're going through something that takes a lot of your energy? What do you do to institute some self-care into your life?
So, excellent point, because next week we have 6 or 7 events in 3 different cities.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in that season right now. And I will say a couple of things. Number one, and this is just my way, I am eating really clean, and there's not a French fry that I don't like, but I am eating really clean.
Got it.
I am choosing right now, and there's not a glass of wine I don't like, to just stay off of alcohol. I am moving more mindfully. Now, I am not in the phase of life to run a marathon. The thought of that I am allergic to, but I am moving more mindfully. And then I think something that is clutch for me, because it's 7:30 right now. I started today at 7 or 8 o'clock. Is midday, I walk outside. I walk outside just to like clear the air.
Got it.
And then it is a life practice that I journal every night.
Okay.
And I have to say, I have always loved the teams that I have, but I really love my team. And so I enjoy leaving them motivational notes. And like, we have a channel that we chat on. And then I book something to look forward to.
Mm.
So this busy season next week, actually most of May, but come the last week of May, I already know what I'm going to do. So I'm in anticipation, like it's temporary. So I think I'm a block worker. So this is the block, right?
Got it.
I am working late. I am sleeping with my face mask in anticipation of reversing the clock, which isn't happening. But I've already booked like my girl time.
Got it.
This is just what I have to do to get there. And I'm reminded it was a good gut check when I was talking to that girlfriend and she was like, unemployed.
Right. Good stuff. I love that you're mindful of, okay, this is a season where I'm going to be working long hours, but I'm planning something to look forward to after this. And I'm taking care of myself with more intention during this season so that my body doesn't get run down by unintentional bad habits. I make sure that I am utilizing the good habits for myself. Great information. Yes,
because it's trial and error. Because understand this, I've been the person eating the potato chips like that was breakfast, right? Or the cold pizza. That is not a thing. Like, there's a reason why your stomach hurts. There's a reason why you're always thirsty, and I don't always get it right. But like the evidence, it's kind of like you know what you know. The evidence usually is, even if you move for 10 minutes a day, chances are you feel better.
Yes.
Instead of the glass of wine, which can be a release, I support it. But sometimes to like persist, water or herbal tea might be more efficient, right?
Right.
Like, we know these things.
Yes. Yes. Just doing the things that we know.
There
if
you
don't
go. Walk away with anything else, because I've run my mouth, you're going to say, what was that podcast about? And you can say, well, Melva LaJoy Legrand told us do.
Yes. Very active word. Well, Melva, we appreciate you so much being with us here today. And I just want to ask you if there's anything you have on your mind that maybe we didn't cover, I didn't ask you the question of, that you want to share with our audience.
I'll say this. Last year was one of the most humbling years in my entrepreneurial journey. It was a year where I questioned everything I knew about business, and I'm this far in the journey. And yet, when we reopened in 2025, I would learn that we grew by 53%. I would learn that the documentary got 2 awards. I would receive confirmation that I'm on the right path. And so I think what I want to encourage someone, if you are like me, if you've ever been like me and you feel depressed and you have doubts and it's not feeling really good right now, I would tell you to continue to plant the seeds, like be in anticipation. And in my experience, I would caution you, in my experience, my seeds took decades to harvest. But when the harvest comes, you will find yourself sitting somewhere. Sometimes I'm just laughing to myself about what it took, what I gave, what I sacrificed, what I lost, what I gained to get here. And in that moment, I want to tell you, the realest I know, you will feel, you will know, it will like burst out of you that it was worth it. Because you're worth it. That's what I want to say. Life is not, we are not promised ease. But I do believe, and I was reminded last year, that joy is available and free for everyone.
I like that. I like that. Joy is available. All right.
This episode is sponsored by EmpowerHER Bookkeeping and Advisory. Our boutique firm is for women founders who are tired of running businesses that feel chaotic and drain their passion. So if your business systems are pinching you like a shoe that no longer fits, please contact us today and book your private complimentary discovery call. Visit EmpowerHerBookkeeping.com and let the relief begin. You've been listening to the Empower Her Business Podcast. And before you go, I want to thank you for being here. If this episode supported you, please pay it forward. You can do that by hitting the follow button, rating us 5 stars, leaving a comment, and sharing us with others. This is how we ensure the podcast reaches more sisters in business. Until next time, I wish you the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Be well.